Okay, and there we go. Post sent off. Hello, and welcome everybody. My name is Jax Wolf, and you are tuning in to Night Rights. If this is your first time here, if this is your umpteenth time here, you know how this spiel goes. If this is your first time here, let me walk you through it. Night Rights is an open writing chat and just general hangout. If you're on Blue Sky, consider clicking that little link that you see right above the cute little picture of that bee. That'll take you right to YouTube, where there was an open chat room. You can say whatever you'd like in the chat room, so long as it doesn't violate YouTube TOS or somebody else's boundaries. And I will read what you say out loud. If you're shy, we do have an icebreaker, which is a nightly writing question or writing related question, just to kind of like get you into the mood of socializing and whatnot. Now, the first half an hour of every single Night Rights, generally speaking, sometimes we do deviate a little bit, but generally speaking, this is how it goes. First half an hour, we just sit there and chat, allow people to gather in and get warmed up, check in on how everybody's going. Or alternatively, I just sit here and rant for half an hour. Then at 9 p.m., exactly on the dot, once everybody's settled in, once we've all got our drinks and our projects, we start in on the first of our 3 word sprints of the night. If you've never heard of a word sprint, they're very fun and very simple. Ours are word sprints in name only. Traditionally, word sprints are when you sit down and you write for a span of time straight. So for us, it's 20 minutes. So that is 20 full minutes of writing. And then at the end, you just say how many words you wrote and celebrate each other's accomplishments and so on and so forth. Now, as I said, ours are word sprints in name only. What this means is I really do not care what you work on. I will be working on writing, and in fact, that huge white space that you see on your screen right now is actually a new chapter in the novel that I'm working on. This is Scrivener, in fact, so there are words on various documents, but I haven't started on this one. You will see words appear on your screen, and it will be all magical, and there will be dragons and fun stuff. But you, on the other hand, you can do whatever you want. I have had people just take naps during the 20 minutes, and they're like, hey, what's up? I woke up at the end. It's all cool. But at the end of the 20 minutes, those 20-minute breaks are designed to give you a break. Like, as everybody knows, whenever you're creative, it's really difficult to ride yourself hard. You need to get up every so often. You need to walk around. You need to make sure you have your water, go to the bathroom, do whatever. Just let yourself decompress after a very long and hard run. So that's what those breaks are for. But generally, it's I just sit there and talk at you for a certain period of time, and then we won't launch into another run, another word sprint, and that continues on so that until we have 3 word sprints all together. Now, that having been said, it is a Wednesday night. It's kind of quiet. I did recently switch these from Tuesday to Wednesday. Technically, I will say this, it probably wasn't super necessary for me to switch them from Tuesday to Wednesday, but it just felt right. Right now, I'm not sure if my static raid team actually does any raiding anymore. We kind of, our raid team leader, as some of you might know from past... Okay, so let me start from the beginning. So some of you might know from past streams that I play this niche little game. It's super obscure. It definitely hasn't won any awards. There's definitely not a copy pasta involved. It's called Final Fantasy XIV Online. So I play it socially. I mean, I do play it when my social resources aren't around, aka my friends. But the most fun that I get out of it really is doing stuff with friends. I do have a static raid team, but it's like a static raid team in the loosest possible sense in the world. And I don't know. I am making weird throat sounds right now. I'm so sorry. It's the loosest possible static you could ever conceive of because we don't raid regularly. What happened is we formed a team last year. We did a couple of extreme trials, and for those of you who aren't familiar with how Final Fantasy goes, there's your normal raids, which are the stuff that you beat first time around via the story and whatnot. Then some of those trials and some of those bosses that you fight get harder content. They used to actually have hard level bosses, so they would be hard mode trials. But the funny thing is, they stopped doing that after a while. So now it's like they skipped straight to extreme, which is supposed to be harder than hard. So we did a couple of extremes trials, and then there's also the savage raids, which are even harder than extremes. We've done one of those, or we tried to do one of those back when we had our main team, but then drama happened. Like, some people started going after achievements without us, and some members were just like infighting with each other, and some members were talking shit about other members. When I say some members, I'm mostly talking about like 3 of them in an 8-man team, so that was fun. So people got kicked, and then life happened for another couple of members, and it was just down to a core of 4 members. So we just kind of continued to be on the lookout for new raid teams and whatnot. And eventually we found a raid team. We found an extra 4, and we did another extreme trial and actually finished a savage. But the problem is the raid team, our new raid team lead, kind of had to do things. Like, it's a subscription-based model that I'm sure that you can understand what happened. But and 2 other members had scheduling conflicts with 2 other members, and it was just impossible to find us a good raid time. So whenever the raid team lead kind of was like, hey, I have offline obligations, we were like, cool, let's just take a break. And that has been going on for about a month, but honestly, I kind of feel like now's a good chance to take a step back and refocus. But then again, then I started getting really into my novels, so most of my time has been spent writing and joining things whenever I have time. But this is all just to say, I had what we're doing now is basically we're shooting the shit. Like, we the core that is left will sometimes do maps, sometimes hang out, do adventures together. We were working on Pilgrim's Traverse, but 2 members of our core team are kind of like burned out right now. So it's like, it's difficult right now. I think I think I and my in-game wife are the only ones who are the ones who play the most regularly, I think. But it's all good. I mean, I'm using this time mostly to catch up with, like I said, with writing, but also with other classes. So it's still fun, but all of this to say, that's what I was doing for Mondays and Wednesdays for a good solid few months. And then D&D is usually Thursdays, so it's sort of like, that's why things have happened. And then all of a sudden the core team started to want to do things on Tuesday. I was like, sure, why not? So that's why the past, that and just straight up depression. I don't know. I keep on coming up with excuses, but honestly, I just need to be more consistent with everything. And this all folds back into tonight's icebreaker because, I don't know, like, I'm just still chilling, so Let me actually go here. Yeah, it's just me in here, so I'm just chilling. But tonight's icebreaker is how's your monthly writing progress going? And as you know, I wanted to do NaNoWriMo like traditionally. So that means 50,000 words. The problem with that is things have not been going great. They've been going good, and in the sense that, in some senses, bad in others. There's for the first weekend, for example, I was out and socializing, so like there was that. There was not going to be that much writing getting done, I know. And then for this past week and the weekend before, it was just like work. And the thing about it is, like when I used to do Nano and when I used to win, I would have jobs that kind of like were a little bit lower key, I want to say. It's more like right now it's starting to get into the busy season, and I keep forgetting. I've been with this company for 2 years, and I keep forgetting that our busiest season is like from, I want to say, October all the way to February or so, or really March. So it's really like every single day I'm doing something else. There's a lot going on. We've also we're in a transitional period for a few other things, so it's like all this stuff is coming in at once. So by the time that I'm done, I'm just wiped out. So there's that. But also, I don't know, if you were following me on Blue Sky, I did go through a depressive episode as well. That's been happening more and more frequently, and it's probably something that I need to pay a little bit more attention to, see what triggers it. But also, I kind of think I know. Like, over the weekend, I haven't been getting too much sleep anyway, and this past weekend was a work day, which was a little bit infuriating for reasons I won't get into. Followed by a full day out doing writing sessions and hanging out with a friend of mine. And first off, I didn't get as much writing done during that as I thought. I would transcribed everything, and it turns out that I only got like 1,300 words done out of all of that. But also, I guess it's been the first time in a while that I've had THC, which is it's recreational and it's legal here. It's so legal that it's basically very normal, but I guess I'm not really tolerating it as much as I used to. Long story short, between sleep deprivation, a lot of stress, and that, I just had really, really bad dreams. And it left me kind of like absolutely in a bad place these past couple of days. I'm doing better now. Especially since I let myself sleep 7 whole hours last night. I need more for certain, but it's a start. But there's a lot that was going on that I just need to just muscle through. And honestly, part of me wants to be like, I should probably take a mental health day anyway. Just like at the end of the week or something like that, just be like, I've gotten to this point where I just need a break and just take it. I've got enough PTO saved up, and as far as I know, nobody's actually going to take Friday off or something like that. But like, it's difficult right now. On the one hand, it's difficult for everybody, but right now it's like, this is job security for me, and it's a steady enough paycheck that it doesn't it's not enough to get by, but with my savings and with some help offline, I can get by just enough. But at the same time, it's really difficult to complain because I know that this is the state of everything right now, and that's part of the reason why I'm kind of like sitting where I am, even though I want to do something else with my life and so on. It's just because like it's either now is not a good time to take a risk if you don't have to. So that's my 2 cents on the matter. In other words, just as a full summary, I am only like, let me actually see. I've been doing nano count over on a special tab in Scrivener, and you can see that I've only done like 11,784 words. It is currently the 12th. To give you an idea of where I should be, let's see, 1667 times 12. Yeah, I should be at 20,000 words right now. So in other words, I'm definitely not going to be winning Nano, but I'm going to wait until this weekend. As far as I can tell, I don't really have too much planned this weekend. Let me actually just casually glance at things like the weather. It helps that it's going to be, we're right now getting into the cold and miserable part of the year. You don't really think about this too often, but New York actually does have a hurricane season in the sense that we don't often get the brunt of hurricanes. Oh, I will finish this thought later because you had mentioned this, but we don't often get the brunt of hurricanes, but we do get like the arms, the storms fronts, I want to say, that kind of crawl up the coast. So when weather is shitty down south, it's often less shitty up north, but it's also cold up north, so we get a lot of shit. But in any case, hello, probably just an NPC. Hey Jax, I didn't want to cut your train of thought because it's good to say things out loud sometimes. Sorry to hear that your mental health's getting affected by so many things. But yeah, I came here, last I came here was winter. It was actually productive, so I finally caught one after a while. LOL, I'm in Toronto, I get ya. See, you, oh my goodness, yeah, you guys get it too. But anyway, but yeah, main thing is, if you're thinking about writing this weekend, I don't know if it's like, there is some mileage between us, so it might be a little bit different. But according to my weather app, it's going to be absolutely fun. Like, Saturday morning looks like it's going to be clear and decent for a walk, but like starting from Saturday afternoon onwards, it's going to be solid rain, and that's the best time to write, man. Like, you just get your tea and you sit there and you go. So hopefully I'll get something done. If I don't pass, or if I don't catch up by then, I'll just call it and be like, yeah, I'm not winning Nano. Let's try this again when it's not weird. But also thank you. Like I said, these happen in cycles. I should probably I've been thinking about going back to therapy and talking to somebody and just sort of like sorting through thoughts and whatnot, but I will do that once my company gets after open enrollment, in other words, so that I can get better insurance and stuff. But we'll see. It was snowing here, literally unreal. True. Oh, man. My weather app keeps alerting me to snow, and I'm like, I want to show Benjamin snow, but it has yet to actually happen here. Or at least if it does, it's like in 4 in the morning, and I'm like, God, I'm not awake right now. Why must you hold out on me, God? But I love snow, and I'm really looking forward to the first actual snow that sticks. Or at least a snowstorm that I can actually see, so that we can get some vibes up in here. But on the other hand, also happy autumn, I suppose, at this point, at last. I know it's been a really weird October, where it was weirdly warm at the beginning because yay, climate change. So anytime, we still are going through climate change, don't get me wrong, but whenever November starts getting cold and snowy, especially this early in the year, I'm like, God, some little bit of normalcy. See, this is it. That's what it's supposed to be like, everybody. Not like 60 degrees at the beginning of November. But in any case. Yeah, as a side point, it's super weird, but Benjamin is just a plush bee, right? But at the same time, it's sort of like Benjamin's helping me get excited about different things again. So in a way, he's also my therapy until I can go to therapy. But sometimes I forget that it's like I've only had him for less than a year. So like I've been super duper excited about snow. Like I love snow normally, but now it's sort of like, oh, I need to show Benjamin snow. Probably just an NPC says, by the way, I want to know where you're going to publish your stuff so I can read when you've released it. Sorry I wasn't able to get updated, but I like the vibes of your stuff. Aww. So I do have a newsletter. It's on Beehive, and I apologize that right now a lot of stuff is coming through Beehive, but there's so much shenanigans going on. I still haven't deleted stuff off of AO3, but like, I don't like the fact that AO3 had been scrubbed by AI. They say that they fixed it, but yeah, so that's out. WordPress is out for reasons. Tumblr is out for other reasons. So it's like all my stuff, or I shouldn't say all my stuff because it's more like one thing is on Beehive, and that's on my Blue Sky profile. So if you go to jackswolfrights.bsky.social, you will see a link to Beehive in the bio. So that's just the newsletter. Click that link and you should be able to sign up. Just hit like the little sign up button, enter your email, hit subscribe, and you'll get like monthly updates, as well as, if I feel like it, there will be short stories. If you haven't read The Infinite Sadness, which is the 90s AU of the novel that I'm currently writing, that's up in full. It actually, the last chapter and epilogue released just a couple weeks ago. So you can actually, once you've signed up, you can then read on the web that entire story. And as for the monthly updates, that'll keep you in the loop as to when to catch the rest, because right now I'm still working on this novel. It will get a beta read, so let me actually turn down the music. Actually turn it down for myself, there we go. It's going to get a beta read, so that's one opportunity. Alternatively, I am planning on publishing it in a book that you can hold format, so the monthly updates will be where or how you'll find out about when that release is going to happen. So that's still not going to be for some time, I do admit. But you know, I might write things here and there just to like, I need to get back into the habit of actually writing short stories between drafts at least, or even just to give myself a break from this draft. And if that happens, it'll most likely just be popped into Beehive. Eventually, I'll get a proper website and web space. I do have a NeoCities, but that's going to be at some other time, hopefully. But yeah, so that is where to find me. And thank you for asking, and also thank you for the compliment on the vibes. Like, it really does do my heart good to hear that folks enjoy what I'm doing. So yeah, I hope you enjoy at least the Infinite Sadness. I'll see if there's anything else that I'd like to clean up and throw out there. We'll see. But yeah, I have been chatting a long while, so feel free to tell me how you're doing, by the way. And that goes for anybody else who might be looking or peeking in. If you are on Blues, or like, for the folks that are peeking in, if you're on Blue Sky, I would highly recommend clicking that link and following it into our little chat room. Excuse me, and just saying, saying, hey, what's up? I love visitors. I love new folks. I love to chat with folks. I know that I might not be super social on Blue Sky. I'm terrible at responding on social media, but here, this is an open chat room, and I like to vocally ramble, so have at it. Otherwise, if you just want to sit and vibe with this playing in the background, that is a-okay too. I appreciate you either way. On that note, it is 8:58. We are just a couple minutes away from our very first word sprint of the night. If you're working on a project, feel free to drop into the chat what you're working on. That includes you too, possibly just an NPC. Meanwhile, as I've mentioned, I'm actually on chapter 14 of The Nameless Song, which is, I don't know if folks are just kind of tuning in, but it is a fantasy novel about a guy who turns into a dragon and antics ensue, mostly heavily political antics. We are getting into the chapter that builds up to the first meeting of the bee people. There is a race of bee people. I'm so excited to finally include them. But we'll see how far we get. It is literally just at chapter 14 is literally them setting up for this, going into this bee village. So yeah. Otherwise, take this moment to make sure that you've got everything you need. Probably just an NPC says, oh yeah, I forgot to mention my actual user here. It's Haluro. Oh! I probably knew that and completely forgot. I'm so sorry. Then again, you did say that it's been since winter. So, yes, welcome back, Haluro. Love that bee people. Hell yeah. They're honeybee people specifically, with the entire culture that's inspired by honeybees. I would happily go off on about them at any point. I have done so many times on Blue Sky, but it is 9 p.m., so I should actually start the word sprint part of the show. So, as with every word sprint, we always like to take a second to shake out our wrists and fingers. Haluro says, oh no, I wouldn't expect you to remember me. I'm happy you did. I try to remember everybody. There is a non-zero chance that I will be like, I don't remember who you are, but I'm still, I'm still happy that whenever folks come back. And I do remember having excellent conversations with you, although I can't remember about what. I am so sorry. But yes. That said, let's take a deep breath in. And it out. Just kind of ground ourselves for a second here. One more time. Let it out. Hopefully you have your tea or water at the ready. Shake out your wrists, flex your fingers. There are 20 minutes on this clock. So I will see you on the other side, my dudes. Get ready, get set, and here we go. Alright, that is the first of 3 sprints. How did you do? I only got done 227 words, but you know, I'm cool with that. First sprint is always a little bit rougher, and I'm just kind of getting into it too, so. Let me actually finish the sentence, but feel free to toss in your progress into the chat. Okay. Sorry, it was a little bit more than just a sentence, but when a thought seizes you, you know? Anyway, Haluro says it was fun. Like, it's so awesome to just take some time off from a busy day to do something you want to do and see it happening no matter how small the progress. Absolutely. One thing I do like about getting into this project and being consistent about it is that, or at least one thing that I like about having a time set aside to do some writing is, sure, there's a chance that you could just be like making it into a chore, right? But at this, there's also the chance that it's sort of like, okay, I'm setting aside some time where I know that I'm not going to be doing anything that's stressful. So it's just going to be self-indulgent fun. And I kind of feel like at some points I might have forgotten that, but at the very least, this week I'm working on trying to get back into it and trying to fall back in love with writing. Or at least tonight I am. Or that makes no sense whatsoever. Some nights, as I was writing this draft, some nights it has been feeling like I need to get words done and words are not happening, and other nights are just sort of like, oh wow, this is why I'm actually doing it. But in any case, yes, 100%. And if this is like you were taking time for yourself, Aliro, I am delighted to hear that it is an enjoyable little break from all the other shenanigans out there. because adult responsibilities, especially in this stage and age, are just fun, right? So it's always nice to set aside some time for yourself. Actually, yeah, let's just make that entire philosophy. Like, writing is not pain. Writing is a break from all the other things that you do. It is something that you do for fun. It is, and your writing time is that time that you sit down and you're like, I have no responsibilities during this hour. The only thing that matters is getting words down. Honestly, it occurs to me that I haven't really been doing a good job of that lately, now that I think about it. Like, sure, there are these streams, but I think part of the reason why I've been so distracted lately is because, like, I have a writing nook set up, right? But it's not, like, for writing on a computer. It's just, like, it's a couch with a lamp next to a bookshelf, and there's a little table. I use very massive air quotes here because it is actually a plastic box that I've stored surplus plates I don't have any place for at the moment. But it happens to be a flat surface that's next to the couch. And it could be very easy for me to just be like, I'm sitting down and I have 2 hours. For the first hour, I'm just going to read, and for the second hour, I'm going to do some writing. I'm not doing anything else, but I haven't been doing that. And it's something that I should really start doing again. Like, or maybe even like make it a 3-hour thing every night. Like 1 hour reading, 1 hour writing, the last hour transcribing what I wrote. It seems like it would be just a good way to decompress. And I don't know, like, especially since as I was saying, like, super early in the stream, technically a lot of my obligations have kind of evaporated in the sense that back when like a few months ago, I was part of a Final Fantasy static team where we would take on bosses and whatnot, but really nowadays, like, I am still very good friends with everybody who's in the static team. Well, for the most part. We won't get into the people who, like, kind of drama their way out of it. But, like, I'm still very good friends with the core people, but they have their own lives to live, or they've lost interest in Final Fantasy and want to do something else. And that's totally okay. We still chat on Discord and whatnot, and but the main thing is we're not really gaming together. So in the break, I should be like, there's not really too much to do. All I'm doing every night on Final Fantasy is checking my retainers, maybe doing a couple of trials and whatnot. But it's difficult because I play exclusively on the North American servers, and if you're into Final Fantasy, you know exactly where this is going. Because it's been going on for, I think, a week now. More than that. It's definitely been going on and off since Dawn Trail had dropped, but it's really ramped up recently. But for some reason, the servers just get DDoSed. Like, it doesn't happen on any other world server. And I know the solution would be like, hey Jax, why don't you just go make a character on the Japanese servers? And I'd be like, well, there's a very good reason for that, and it's because I play these games socially, and I don't speak Japanese. So... Oh, Halaru says, I would not know. I don't play FF, unfortunately. That is... It is... I don't know whether or not to say that's a good thing or a bad thing. Final Fantasy is definitely the best role-playing game that I've ever played. Or not... You know, the best MMO that I've ever played. It has the best story out of every single MMO, and yes, I am 110, like 10 million% counting World of Warcraft in this assessment. And it is, I've never cried at a video game before, but I would ugly cry at various moments. Even like if I go and I queue up a YouTube video of Medion. These are kind of like spoiler-ish, but you will not know the context, so I'm just throwing out names here. Like Medion and the Flowers, or Emmett Selk and his speech, or the Loperits and their final and their first transmission. I fucking ugly cried so hard at every single one. Or even like Oshan and his decision. Oh my god, like there are so many good story beats. There are also, it's just also like a good coherent story. It does start off slow. Like everybody will tell you that the base game, A Realm Reborn, sucks in terms of story, and it does. There are some fun bits here and there, but it's like fetch quest after fetch quest and really bad mechanics for a lot of the early dungeons. But once you get into Heaven's Word and it starts getting political, holy even a little bit before then, like the lead up to it, like you would make friends. I won't even say, because that's a spoiler, but the ugly cry, a lot of people forget about Waking Sands, but the ugly cry starts there. And then you get into Heaven's Word, and you'll start to get the memes about the vault. And it's just so good. But at the same time, there are so many bad parts to it. The queue times right now suck no matter where you go, unless I think the Aether Data Center, which is the hardest one to get into, is the one that doesn't have really shitty queue times for anything. It definitely doesn't have as toxic of a fan base as WoW, but that's not saying much. You will still get toxicity. It is an MMO. You will still get weird people, especially varying server by server. And like I said, it does get it's very slow to start. And Dawn Trail is very much a mid-tier expansion. Like, it's A Realm Reborn all over again, almost literally, because they're starting off with a brand new story arc. The last story arc concluded with Endwalker, which was like a decade in the making. So it's now like, okay, now what do we do? We've been working on this story arc for literally 10 years, and now we have to start all over again. But, so there's that. Also, I don't know, some expansions just hit harder than others. Heaven's Word is story really picks up there. Stormblood is heavily political, so if you like politics, you will like Stormblood. But if you don't like sitting through very long cutscenes in which people debate, you will very much want to strangle somebody, as I had. It picks back up with Shadowbringers, which has a lot of lore drops and a lot of really fantastic characters. A lot of fan favorites came from Shadowbringers. And then Endwalker, in my opinion, is probably my favorite. It brought a lot to the table. It was a fantastic conclusion to a really fantastic story. A lot of cool stuff. It has probably the coolest alliance raids in the game. It's all around, I loved that expansion. Then you have Dawn Trail. Back to the chat though. I'm so sorry I got sidetracked. I'll even also turn this off because we know that we now know that it's basically closing in on a time for the next sprint, but I will answer all the stuff. Halira says, LOL, man, I had to lie. I had the Xbox when it got released. I got into gaming like as a teen. Oh, sorry. Did you okay? So I totally understand then. Wait. Do you mean playing FF or just gaming in general? Because if gaming in general, totally understandable. There are some good games for the Xbox as well. I have to admit that I've never really touched Xbox, but I do touch the ones that are cross-platform, especially with Steam. So I know that there's some really cool stuff there. If you are a WoW girly, though, gender neutral, please forgive me for any shit talking I do for WoW, but on the other hand, it's Blizzard and they deserve it. They know what they did. Hilary says, damn, I should check it out. 100%. I love this game. I mean, sure, it has its problems, and if you're a hardcore MMO player, you'll probably see those problems more clearly than if you were just a filthy casual like I was before I got super into Final Fantasy. But it is a lot of fun, and if you like playing for the story, you will initially be disappointed, and then Heavensward will come along, and then you will be very much angry at me. Halero says, I take it that FF is quite a big inspiration for your works. Nowadays, it is 100% a huge inspiration for the Nameless Song, especially a lot of Endwalker, a little bit of Heavensward too. That's why the elves are French, let's just say. But yeah, basically, I was playing through Endwalker when I first really started getting into world building for the Nameless Song, and a lot of that bled into it. Otherwise, I do also admit that I was kind of a Pokemon fan beforehand, as some folks might know, including some folks in this chat, but I kind of fell out of that for a number of reasons. It's just sort of like I moved away from the fandom because of toxicity. And then I just stopped buying the games, and like I haven't played Scarlet and Violet, and I don't know if I want to. I am kind of curious, but like I can't justify a $60 price point for video games anymore, says the person who pays $20 a month for a Final Fantasy subscription. But in any case, yeah, I just it's like when I started playing Final Fantasy, I was like, oh, this is what a video game is like. These are what mechanics are like when they're not designed for children, and this is what a story is like, because Pokemon barely has one. Like, in some ways I still do miss it. Like, I do kind of like the entire idea of collecting monsters and exploring and uncovering bits, and some bits have bled into my works. Like, I still write as if it's a cutesy, wide-eyed, bouncy, colorful world full of monsters. A lot of the game mechanics might have come from Pokemon more than Final Fantasy. And the two mains are gender-flipped versions of the two characters I used to write all the time. But, yeah, it's like, other than that, like, I don't actually miss Pokemon all that much, and it's kind of surprising that I don't miss it, because I was in there for a very long time. So, Lyra says, gaming in general, yeah, dude, that's me with Persona. The fandom made me dislike it. It's so weird, isn't it? Like, I feel like... Now, don't get me wrong, fandom has always been weird and toxic about everything. since the dawn of fandom, even since like the internet. Like the instantly what comes to mind is that time Tiny Toon Adventures got canceled because a fan got super stocky and weird towards the voice of Babs Bunny. Like this was the 90s. Weird fans have always been a thing, but I feel like the internet has it hasn't even emboldened people because there were weird freaks all the time. But it's given folks a place to act out. And in some cases, it's emboldened folks. In other cases, it's just a space for people to exist as they are offline. And oftentimes, people offline aren't great people either. The main point that I'm trying to make is since moving away from Pokemon, I've engaged less and less in fandom, and I feel like I don't miss that either. And in fact, the more that I think about it, the more that I'm realizing that fandom spaces in general and I do not mix all that well. I will say this though, fandom is a necessity. It's not like a privilege. I'm not saying like privilege right or anything like that. I'm saying that it is a safe space for a lot of folks, and it is a place where, at its best, folks can go and be happy and take a break from the world. So therefore, fandom is a necessity. But that having been said, the fact that it can be such a great thing for some people does not erase the fact that it is also home to a very vocal and very toxic population. Every single fandom that you could ever imagine has somebody who has at least one group of folks that make things weird for everybody else. And when I realized that I've stopped being comfortable in fandom spaces or spaces that kind of felt like a fandom, like even in writing communities, whenever I see like the same kind of patterns that I used to see in fandom circles, I just kind of like back away from it. And usually what I mean by that, it's like, you find people who won't stop talking about drama, folks who kind of cluster together and just sort of like mock things, or they're like, I will happily throw hands for these other people. You know what I mean? It's like the little cliques that are kind of like the mean girl tables. You get that a lot with fandom spaces, and I don't know, for me that's kind of like a red flag, because that says to me that there's also the weird people who would do things like stalk you or not understand parasocial relationships or boundaries, be just in general toxic to other people, that kind of thing. So 100%, in other words, I understand you about Persona. I feel like everybody has that one fandom that's like, you love the media to death. You cannot fucking stand the fandom. So, Halura says, it just ruins a vibe that you had made something personal for you. Like for me, some games that help change the outlook of my life, right? Like, I think I kind of see it. I get what you're saying too. Like, I spent a long time in the Pokemon fandom, and a lot of that time was spent writing all this fan fiction that kind of like never really got acknowledged, but there was that one Ask blog that I ran, and folks were starting to be really weird there, and that was the tail end of things for me. I realized that there was like no safe space for me in that fandom. Not even whenever I kind of like carved out a niche for myself. So 100%. And when you spend so long on a thing and you look back at that thing after it's kind of been ruined for you, it's like it's hard to look at that fandom again. So like it's been a couple of years since I've been in the Pokemon fandom, and I look back on it now and I'm like, I don't feel anything for this anymore, and it's so weird to think about. So yeah, and it was like, yeah, I totally understand too, because that too was very important. It was like practically an identity for me, and I came out of it and I was like, I don't feel anything for this. Haluro says, I'm currently on Chrono Trigger Brain Rot, and it just feels funner for yourself. Ooh, I needed to play Chrono Trigger. I've heard that's a really amazing game. Haluro says, I'm so sorry that actually happened. Like, your comfort media, it isn't comfortable anymore. I do appreciate that. And I'm also sorry that that happened for you in Persona too. I wish that fandom wasn't weird about things. But that's also like saying I wish people wouldn't be people, I guess. But anyway. I think I will check out Chrono Trigger at some point. I've heard that, like I said, I've heard that's amazing in a Mut's play, but I don't know why I've never really dove into it. But hell yeah, stylized JRPGs with the fun as hell storylines, right? Anyway, we should probably get back to the second round of sprints. That's the thing that we're doing here. So I will say at 9:50. Let's call it 9:50. We'll start the next sprint. But also, I do apologize for like all the rants about fandom in general, if anybody else is listening in on this. But yeah, 100%, I feel like things are better enjoyed with yourself and some close personal friends. So that's how I do it nowadays. Julio says, you know, I had some gender issues with myself as a woman, but just playing Ocarina of Time out loud with my own stupid jokes helped me appreciate my own gender or come closer to it. Ooh, that is a good choice. Also, I can see that too. Link is a gender for everybody, isn't he? But hell yeah, being able to, that's the coolest way that I've seen somebody come out, actually. Just like identifying so hard with the video game character as you're playing the video game that you're like, wait a second, this is gender for me. So sometimes it's just nice to play for yourself than going in groups unless they also appreciate your journey. 100%. Also, again, I love that for you. I love that. I love that's how you figured things out. Also, I need to finish. I haven't picked up any part of Ocarina of Time since I was like a kid. I need to like. I barely remember much else about it that wasn't a part of a creepypasta. I feel like I need to pick it up again because I need to see how gender it is these days. Anyway, 9:50. I did promise that we get back into it with the second sprint of the night. So if you're not, also if you can hear anything in the background, I do apologize. It's just the garbage truck, but it's also New York City. You hear a lot of weird stuff in the background. But anyway, 9:50, 20 minutes on the clock. If you're not already at your docks, get back to your docks. And if you haven't already hydrated, make sure you're hydrated, because we are starting right now. Good luck. sprint number 2. How did we do? On my end, that's 571 words, which, again, is a-okay. I say a-okay as if that's not actually really good for how I usually do in these sprints. Lately, I've been averaging about 400-ish words. I'd say 400 to 470, which sounds super specific, but I've done 470 enough times to know that's probably my upper limit. So, at the very least, you know, I rolled this session, so that's pretty cool. I still will not make the 1667 daily count, though. Basically, my plan is once I'm done with all 3 sprints for tonight, I am just going to take the rest of the night off and just rest. I don't even think I'll be logging on and check. I mean, maybe I'll log on to FF and check my retainers. Maybe I will just curl up in bed with Benjamin and some Mystery Science Theater or whatever else I feel like watching. Pluto TV does have a lot of like 80s and 90s sitcoms, which is really cool. I have started watching Growing Pains again, and it's weird. Like, I don't remember it being... I don't know how to describe it. I don't want to call it bland or not quite funny. It's like got this fuzzy bit of nostalgia for me because, like, when it was in its later seasons, I was like, not to age myself, but I was like a very, very small child. So I remember that, and what was the other one with Michael J. Fox? Family Ties, there we go. So it's kind of funny because I remember vividly the theme song of Growing Pains. I would hear the theme song to Growing Pains quite frequently, but I remember very little about Growing Pains itself. I remember having a crush on Kirk Cameron when I was a very small child, and that is not something that I speak of anymore because Kirk Cameron turned into a very weird person. A very weird and kind of... let's just say that Kirk Cameron did not do anything necessarily illegal, which is kind of a rarity for stars from the 80s and 90s. However, he did turn very Christian-y, and not even like... I mean, like, born again, fundamentalist, I'm going to use all of my star power to preach at you, kind of weird Christian-y, if you didn't know. But with Family Ties, like, I remember Michael J. Fox's performance. And I remember also watching so many episodes of that. I don't remember specifics about separate plots, but like I remember his character so well. He was so fantastic in that, I have to say. I also had a crush at, like, it's kind of funny that I later came out as biromantic, because when I was a child, like, I had genuine crushes on dudes, like, quite frequently, and all of them were like celebrities, like Kirk Cameron, Michael J. Fox. Danny Tamborelli is another one that has been popping up quite frequently. Like, maybe it's just because I binge watch The Adventures of Pete and Pete every 10 years, because it's such a good show, like legitimately a good show. But he keeps on coming up. Like, actually no, because also on Blue Sky, like, I was going through my posts one day, and then all of a sudden I see like this one post. I think it was name dropping one of his. It was name dropping his Mighty Ducks character, and because somebody was using a Mighty Ducks reference in politics, and Danny Tamborelli, if you didn't know, is super fucking chilled these days. He was always super fucking chill, but he is very, very fucking chill, let's just say. And he had actually made a comment on Instagram, and that made its way onto Blue Sky. I was like, what? Wait a second. I know this person. Well, not personally, but like, it's kind of funny how many things that Danny Tamborelli is in. He actually made most of our childhoods, and or if you were a 90s kid, he probably made like half of your childhood in some form or another, and you just didn't know it. Like, not to go off on a tangent or anything, but legitimately, 8-year-old me had this massive crush on Danny Tamborelli, and as an adult, I'm like, God, I would love to sit down with you and just like smoke weed for a while. Don't do drugs, kids. Probably drink beer. Don't do alcohol either. Just something. Because he just seems like a cool person. But, which I guess is a crush nowadays. But in any case, so I got into this subject because I was saying that there are a lot of 80s sitcoms on Pluto TV, which is fun and free and riddled with ads, but still, you know. So I've been kind of falling asleep to that, or I've been streaming Mr. Belvedere on YouTube, and it's like there's this entire swath of 80s sitcoms that are absolute brain candy, and they are super, well, not all of them. We don't talk about some of them because Bill Cosby was in at least one of them, but like a lot of them were white. I do admit. I don't know, the ones with Gary Coleman were actually pretty good too. But in any case, it's just like it's safe, and you have all these cute family vibes and cutesy theme songs, and just in general, the atmosphere is so laid back and chill. Hilaro says, oh my god, he was the voice for Arnold for a Magic School Bus. Yes, and that is exactly what I mean. Like, he was in the Mighty Ducks. He was on Pete and Pete, obviously. He was on a shit ton of 90s Nickelodeon stuff. And either you don't remember or you didn't know that was Danny Tamborelli. He was Arnold for the Magic School Bus, which I didn't know until recently. Yeah, and now he's in GTA, so that's where he is. That's what he's doing now. But like, yeah, he's like, if you grew up in the '90s and watched Nickelodeon or the Magic School Bus, or you were into the Mighty Ducks, or into a lot of kids movies, he was probably in some part of that. So therefore, you could probably blame Danny Tamborelli for who you are now. I know that watching The Adventures of Pete and Pete as a child rewired my child brain, and kind of, that's why I kind of like go back and watch it every 10 years. That, and again, it's a really good story, and it's a really good show, and every time I watch it, I'm like, I forgot how good this is, and how funny it is, and how well written it is. Like, it is probably one of the best pieces of children's media that was ever written for television, in my opinion. But, so, like, not to sound creepy or anything, but, like, a Danny Tamborelli piece of media has been a formative part of my childhood. And, the funny thing is, so was the Magic School Bus. Like, when I wasn't watching cable, I was watching PBS, and I was watching the Magic School Bus because everybody wanted to be Miss Frizzle, or they had a crush on Miss Frizzle, or both. So that, you know, it's every 90s child's favorite educational cartoon. So was like in that too. Anyway. But yeah, I also will recommend, I do not actually follow him on Instagram. I only follow Bees and indie musical artists. There are three specific types of people that I follow on Instagram. Number one is, I happen to have met them either in person or in writing communities, and we're just mutuals. Number two is beekeepers, because they post cute bees. And number three are indie bands, because for some reason, every single indie band in existence only has a presence on Instagram and Spotify and nowhere else. So I will follow bands that I like on Instagram as well. But so I don't follow Danny Tamborelli, but every single time one of his posts crosses my dash, like either if it was stolen and put on Blue Sky apparently, if YouTube recommends an interview to me, if just a related post comes across on Instagram because they're like, hey, you like Pete and Pete, here's Pete and Pete. He's just a delightful fount of fun, so like go and follow him. He also makes good music. Like he's since the entire child star thing, he's a voice on GTA, but he also has like this indie band. Hilarious says, Jax, I have to know, do you like the Bee Movie? I feel like this is a trap. I do think that the Bee Movie is fucking hilarious. I haven't watched it in years though. And, you know, there are many, many things that are wrong scientifically with the Bee Movie. But it is still fucking memey and hilarious. Like, how can you... It's really difficult to not if you like bees. Or if you're either super into bees and you're like, this is a bee inaccurate movie, I do not like the Bee Movie, or you're really into bees and you're like, this is fucking hilarious. It is Jerry Seinfeld as a bee. Like, that is the entire premise of that movie, and it's great. Well, Jerry Seinfeld as a bee getting into... Actually, that is Jerry Seinfeld in a nutshell, isn't it? I was about to say Jerry Seinfeld as a bee getting into a really weird relationship, but that is just basically Jerry Seinfeld. Anyway, I could talk about scandals with celebrities like all day, every day. But yeah, I don't know how to end that thought. Like, also, I will say this too. I think that's hilarious that there's a meme out there where it's just copying and pasting the Bee Movie script into different things. Because, like, it's also great because, like, if you don't have access to the movie, you can just wait until somebody is like, there is a form to fill out that we need to spam, and somebody will post the Bee Movie script so you can copy and paste it into the form. So, like, if you don't have access to the movie, just, you know, just wait until somebody just literally hands you the Bee Movie so you can read it. But, yeah, I don't really know what else to say, to be honest. Where was I with all of this? We start off with, like... Oh, right. I was talking about plans I was going to do after the stream. But yeah, basically, Play-O TV is free, and it's got a lot of really cool content, and oftentimes that content is either A, super old, or B, just stuff, just at random. Like, it has an entire channel for the Asylum movies, but, like, recently I've gotten super into 80s sitcoms, and they have 2 separate channels for it, and it's glorious. But in general, like, I do feel like, I was saying earlier that 80s sitcoms just feel, 80s and early 90s sitcoms just feel very safe. Probably because that was back when the United States had hope, which is a very sad thing to say. The internet did not exist and politics were somewhat saner. Which is something because Ronald Reagan was present for a lot of this media. But, yeah, that's where we stand with the stuff. So, like, I will have to say that if I had to give recommendations, Mr. Belvedere, for some reason, has been free on YouTube for ages. so you can just start there, and it actually is a very fun show. It's about an English butler who decides just randomly that he's going to become the housekeeper for this family in Pennsylvania, just a few miles outside Pittsburgh. So, as you do, and he is super sarcastic and super classy, and just like, he's like Mary Poppins, only if Mary Poppins were a dude and 110% done with her shit. It's a great show. Family Ties is also really good. It's about a family whose parents are yuppies, and but they were, I think that one was about they were ex-hippies, and now they're kind of like in suburbia raising their family, but like they were 100% like a summer of love kind of hippies, and now they're in the 80s, so it's sort of like you're getting the vibe of the culture there, but also Alex P. Keaton is a fantastic, fucking hilarious character. He is a young Republican back whenever that wasn't didn't actually mean, you know, but it's like he's into Ronald Reagan, and he's such a little shit about it, especially considering the fact that it is actually painted even there as probably not the greatest thing and kind of annoying. So his performance is absolutely stellar. But then again, Michael J. Fox in general was a fan. I say was, he still is. I don't think he's doing much anymore though. But he's such a fantastic actor, and even back then he was absolutely phenomenal, like in everything that he did. Whether that was like movies like Back to the Future or Family Ties or whatnot. Like there was this one episode where it's just about him dealing with survivor's guilt because his friend had gotten into a car accident and died, and he's super struggling, and it eventually devolves into like this stage show, and it's so visceral, and I've only seen it once. I should actually sit down and try to find it again and see if it's online somewhere other than Pluto, which airs episodes out of order. But it's so heart-wrenching to watch and so beautiful. And it's like, this is a fucking sitcom, and this character is a young Republican, and yet, oh my god, it stuck with me forever. So yeah, there's that, and then there's Growing Pains, which again I do not remember much of. And then you get to Full House, which you should only ever watch. I don't think it's really anywhere, but don't ever watch that unless you're watching it for Bob Saget. Like, that is the literal only reason why you should watch that show. Like, when I first moved to New Jersey, it was on Netflix, and I was watching old episodes, and it's sort of like the show hits so much differently the more you remember that Bob Saget's character was a young widower. Like, you can see all those little, like, he was played up as like the neurotic neat freak kind of character. But then you remember that his wife died horrifically and tragically, and he's left with picking up the pieces with 3 young children, and his only help are 2 man children, and it's like, holy shit. And thinking about it in that context, it's like, oh my god, Bob Saget was an amazing fucking actor. Haluro says the only 90s sitcom I've seen is Boy Meets World, LOL. That's also a good one. It's kind of weird because I only remember Mr. Feeney and Corey because they were fantastic characters and fantastic actors behind them. Sean too, but I don't remember like specific episodes. It's kind of like Growing Pains, where I used to watch it all the time, but then I don't remember specifics. Haluro says, damn, yeah, that is the actual plot of Full House that nobody ever talks about. Like, everybody talks about how Full House is, oh, it's the 90s show that was like fun and happy and mind candy. But no, actually, the reason why it's called Full House is because it's about a guy who lost his wife and invites his brother-in-law and his childhood best friend in with him to help take care of his children, because again his wife had recently died. And I mean, there were definitely episodes, especially as the youngest Michelle got older, that talked about how there's this presence that's not in the house. Like, the girls have no mother figure until one of the characters, Jesse, finally gets married, and their father starts, and Bob Saget's character starts dating again. But it's not brought up as much as you'd think, especially after the first season. But I wouldn't even call it, it's still not a good show. I would not recommend going into it and watching it if you don't like saccharine, sweet, feel-good family sitcoms. But it is also just watch it for Bob Saget's character. That was a fantastic character. I love that. Oh, I will also recommend a couple more. Not as white, but Family Matters is also really good. That is on Hulu. No, it's not on Hulu anymore. I'm not sure where it is, but it was about a black family living in Chicago, and it was super funny. It's where Urkel came from. So the guy, Jaleel White, the voice of Sonic, the original voice of Sonic from the Sonic cartoons, also did a character that was very prevalent in the 90s called Steve Urkel. And if you know anything about the 90s, you probably know at least that. Like, he was fucking everywhere. He even had his own cereal. That's how much people obsessed over him. But the dad was also really cool. I don't remember the actor's name, but the character's name is Carl Winslow. He is like, I will say that it's kind of like, it's a little bit propaganda because the father is a cop. But it does discuss a little bit of race and whatnot. But I keep on going off on Rex, but that also reminds me of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, which is an even better example of black comedy in the 90s, because you do have discussions of culture and so on and so forth. But also, it's Will Smith playing Philadelphia youth. If you've heard this theme song, you know exactly what the sitcom is about, which is great. But like, every single character there is both a stereotype and also weirdly their own solid character, and it's funny as hell. So and it gets like, there are moments where it does get deep, like super deep, and where it does discuss things like the pressure that black women undergo, specifically that black men endure separately. But Will Smith and Uncle Phil was such a dynamic duo, absolutely. That was also it. Like, those two, oh my god. I'm just remembering that there's that one scene wherever Will's father comes back, but then at the end, like, Will's father makes all these promises of sticking around and being there for his son. At the end, he's like, I need to walk out. I'm sorry, something came up. And Will has this breakdown, and the episode ends with that breakdown. And it is, like, extremely powerful and amazing. And amazing acting all around. So 100% that episode is amazing, but like that's the kind of quality that you get throughout the story, throughout the series. Like it oscillates between extremely funny stuff and just this poignant, will make you cry kind of moments, and it's all around fantastic. For real, absolutely. Especially with Carlton being raised in a more richer background and getting mislabeled within the black community. Oh my god, that episode too. I mean, there were multiple episodes of Carlton getting that kind of treatment. Either, like, there was that episode where he and Will got racially profiled, essentially, and arrested, and he had to deal with the fact that the cops weren't actually on his side. There's also that episode where he's trying to get into a black fraternity and he's not black enough for that. So it's just, it was such good writing, but it also tackled all these subjects that you would never see anywhere else, especially in mainstream black media. Like, did you ever see the fucking Cosby Show tackle any of this? No. Or at least I'm pretty sure it didn't. I admit that I never watched the Cosby Show, and now that we know what we know about Cosby, I'm glad that I didn't, but still. And we see the real and comedy juxtaposed. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's such a good show. I can't believe I nearly forgot that it existed. I could keep on going too. Like, there are some other really good 80s, 90s sitcoms out there. Like, Perfect Strangers is also funny and good, although it's really difficult to watch. Rewatch it. Excuse me, at least. What else is there? God, now I'm blanking on what else was out there. Damn. I actually had based one of my main characters on Vivien, the first few seasons one, because I loved her. Everybody loved that woman's vibes. She was such an amazing actress and such an amazing character too. Oh my god, like being able to see a female character who was caring and nurturing, but also was willing to throw hands to protect the ones that she loved. Like, we talk about strong female characters in fiction all the time, but I feel like Aunt Vivien is a great way to have a character who is very proud to be a woman and is very feminine, but still would absolutely take off her earrings and throw hands. I am definitely thinking about one specific scene in particular. Actually, two of them, because there was also that very fantastic scene where she's in, like, Compton and trying to extract Will and Carlton from an apartment, and she talks down this huge mountain of a man, like, rippling muscles, absolutely probably holds his own on the streets and so on and so forth, and he gets up and he says, "No, wait just one moment," and she's like, up in his face in the next second, and he sits back down and he's like, "Yes, ma'am." Yeah, there was something real about her, not tropey. Exactly. Like, she was... I like that, the way that you phrase that. She was real. Like, she was absolutely... You could definitely see, like, her being vulnerable in some moments. Like, I was thinking about the dance off as well, or the dance audition, in that, whenever I mentioned the struggles that black women face. So you do have these moments where she's vulnerable, but that doesn't cost her character or anything. It just adds to her character. I just love her so much. I mean, the other actress did okay too, but definitely 100%. I think everybody loves the first Aunt Vivien. And we get to see her more vulnerable sides where she was confident, then breathes out. Yeah. Read my thought. High five. Yes. That was a fantastic moment right there. Fantastic episode in general, but, like, God, and watching her dance was so fantastic too. Like, everything about that entire scene. I was thinking of the dance off too. I have to be careful with the word dance off with Fresh Prince, because if we're talking about dance off, there's like the Vibin dance audition, then there's the dance off, which is also fantastic with Will and Carlton and that one song that we all know. By the way, it is 10:40, so I will say that 10:45 will start in on the last sprint of the night. I'm just having a lot of fun talking about the 80s and 90s sitcoms and reminiscing about excellent sitcoms as well. Let me see something. Is The Fresh Prince still on Hulu? Not that I should, like, yo-ho whenever possible, but... Okay, yes. You can watch it on Hulu if you have that subscription. It's probably somewhere else, but, like, you know how these streaming services are. Like, they'll go on... something that you like will end up on one streaming platform, and then you cannot find it anywhere else. But if you have Hulu, go and watch it. It's so good. Honestly, I think it's like the best one that we've mentioned so far. A lot of the other ones, they're feel good, but they're safe. They don't really have too many messages, or when they do, it's like weird and special episode-y. On that note, I have never actually sat down and watched Blossom, and I don't intend to anytime soon. But the special episode of Blossom bullshit. Now that I think about it, I feel like that was most of pre-Clarissa girls sitcoms in the 80s and 90s, because Punky Brewster did it. Like the special episode thing where they're trying to teach you life lessons. But it's like Punky Brewster, Facts of Life, Blossom, all of them were focused on like teenage struggles and adolescent struggles of girls, but also special life lessons. And then Clarissa came along and they were like, yeah, you like boys and rock and roll and being independent. That's what you want. Her vibes plus Regina King are massive inspirations for my characters. Like, the characters should feel real, you know? Like, if you read them, they should stand on their own. You get to see them grow up. Absolutely. I think that's what most 90s and 80s have compared to the cheaper shows that we have now. You know, that is a good point. Because I did kind of notice that going into at least the 2000s and onward, like, now and then you would have a really good sitcom. Like, I consider The Good Place a sitcom, even though it's technically more just a comedic show. It doesn't have that sitcom-y format, but, like, true sitcoms kind of got a little bit Sure, you have Malcolm in the Middle, but for every one of those, you have a lot of, I don't know, like, a lot of attempts, like the 2016 Uncle Buck one, God knows what else. Like, they're blips, and then they just fade away, and it's like messes of family dramas and repetitive kind of, and caricatures in settings. Like, or it's like trying to be The Office, but not. Like, the Modern Family is a good show, but like it's basically The Office but with a family. Actually, come to think of it, a lot of shows are trying to be other shows these days, but with twists. Like, even Fresh Off the Boat is just Asian Malcolm in the Middle, in my opinion. Even though that's also really good. But yeah, it's like you don't really have people just being laid back and going through situations. Like, even outlandish premises, like Mr. Belvedere, where you have this high-end English butler just kind of like chilling out with a suburban family, or you might have like the Free Spirit, which was Sabrina the Teenage Witch before there was Sabrina the Teenage Witch. You still had these characters interacting with each other, just being like there, and not trying to play up stereotypes or tropes or anything like that. They were people first. But anyway. It is 10:46, so oops. I should probably mosey on back to the sprints and whatnot and the manuscript. So if you are still with us and not you haven't also gotten lost in the discussion about 80s and 90s comedy, feel free to get back to your doc. Hilario says, it's like you need to undo the amount of conditioning of the tropes you see around in current media, so it's really hard to create characters that are not recycled archetypes. LMAO, true. But yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Because, like, we're very reliant on formulas these days. Like, if it's not tropes, it's formats. And even though a lot of 80s and 90s sitcoms was just family doing family things, like, the spirit of each one was still different. Like, Growing Pains and Family Ties were both about white yuppie families, but you can definitely remember one over the other. There were definitely other different family dynamics and different messages. So it was kind of like peeking on different families. But anyway, I will stall no longer. 20 minutes are on the clock. We'll talk about schedules after. So I'm wishing you the best of luck on this final sprint. Get ready, get set, and here we go. Alright, that is the last of the sprints. How did we do? As for me, 552. I might actually push through after this and just finish off the last 200 words. I think I'd be able to do it before midnight, but we'll see. I also kind of just want to take a break, but we'll see about that too. But feel free to drop your progress into the chat. Otherwise, let me just quickly check and see what's up. Okay. So as usual, I'm not even gonna make any promises about other streams. I'd like to have other streams, but remember how last week I said that there were definitely going to be other streams and then there were just none? Yeah, I'm not doing that again. I'm not gonna make promises and then break them and then make you mad at me for not doing them. But just for funsies, let's see. Luckily, there are no further work events, which means that, well, there's one tomorrow, but Friday really depends. If I'm feeling up for it, we'll see. If I'm not really, because it is the end of the month, or not end of the month, but end of the work week. And if I chicken out of taking a mental health day, even though I really should, just to let myself recover. If I decide to work anyway on Friday, I probably won't do anything. Tomorrow is probably going to be rocky. Next week, let's see. So in other words, no stream definitely tomorrow. Maybe Friday. Again, Saturday I have no plans, not even impromptu plans with friends, which is why I went out last weekend. So we'll see. Maybe Saturday or Sunday. As always, follow me on Blue Sky to get guaranteed updates regarding whether or not I'm streaming. Usually I will announce on Blue Sky first, and it will most likely be in the middle of the day, usually about 1 p.m., 2 p.m. I will be like, hey, yeah, I have time and I'm feeling up for it, so let's do a stream tonight. So if you follow me on Blue Sky and hit that bell, you will get automatic notifications that I have made a post. You will also get a lot of other notifications, so hit that bell at your own risk. I don't often repost, however, I do do a lot of info dumps. So if you're interested in hearing about lore dumps, and hearing about bee people, of hearing about bees, getting lots of pictures of Benjamin and bees, well, not bees anymore because it's past their season, you can hit that bell and you'll get that in addition to anything else I post. Since I'm not doing a one-a-day event, it will, unless I feel like just splurging about bees or something like that, you will most likely just get one post a day. I semi-promise. But anyway, back to the schedule. Definitely no stream Thursday. Maybe Friday, maybe Saturday, maybe Sunday. We'll see how it goes. Play it by ear. Monday and Tuesday, probably not. Especially since there are going to be work events. Wednesday is our usual regular day, so I will make it a point to have a stream. It will be a traditional stream, just like this one was. So regardless of what happens, and regardless of how tired I am, I will make it through a stream on Wednesday. So that is Wednesday the 19th, same bat time, same bat channel. That is 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time we start. 9 p.m. we start on our first sprint. Any other stream that I announce during the week, any of the surprise streams, anything goes. They could have word sprints, they might not have word sprints. It really depends on how behind I am and what I feel like doing. So tune in on those days, see what happens. Follow me on Blue Sky for announcements. You can also hit the subscribe bell here, but you will only ever get notifications that I'm streaming when streams actually go up. So, less reliable way to follow my stuff. I'm only on one other place, and that's Beehive, and that link is on my Blue Sky, and that gives you monthly updates, but those are not relevant to the stream. I'm just saying, if you like what you're seeing, feel free to follow me on Beehive and Blue Sky. But that's it. Let me just check back in with the chat. Hilaro says, yeah, I can't make promises for dropping in either because of nursing school, blah, blah, blah. Totally understandable. Holy shit. I am very well aware that nursing school takes a lot out of you. I salute everybody in the medical field, though. So 100% come when you have time. Totally will not be offended if you don't have time. Haluro says, but I sure had fun though. Same here. I had a wonderful discussion about all kinds of fun things, especially the Fresh Prince. Thank you for reminding me that's a thing. That sounds cool. Hopefully I come online when you post about stream updates. I hope so too. I hope you do drop in whenever you can. Thanks for this, Jax. Good luck for your stuff and have a relaxing mental health day. Thank you, and take care of yourself and your own mental health as you go back into nursing school. 100%. And thank you so much for coming and dropping by. Like I said, I had a lot of fun tonight just chatting with you. And writing, of course. I always have fun doing these streams, regardless of what happens during them. So, hopefully you'll be able to drop in Wednesday. If not, totally okay. And to the rest of you, whoever might be listening, thank you for listening. I am going to end the stream in just a second, but thank you. It was a lot of fun. And take care of yourselves, whatever you do. Good night.